welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rick Kidd, and I'm joined by the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV. Lance, what's shaking?
Oh, not too much. Let's have some fun.
All right, well, let's get into the thick of it. This past Sunday on Dynamite, there was a lot of changes, but we also had a huge shock. The biggest one was the return of Jack Perry, who helped the Young Bucks win the ladder match against FDR. Also, Chris Jericho defeated Hook to win the FTR Championship for the first time. You know what, Lance? And I'm going to put Jack Perry aside for 1 second. Chris Jericho being an FTR champion, I'm not even sure if that was necessary. What do you think about that?
Yeah. One, the whole learning tree thing with Jericho. He's probably sued by the Big Cat and Ernie Ladd's estate, but he did not need this belt.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk about Jack Perry for a minute. Obviously, the whole storyline with them FTR, with the Young Bucks and FTR. Jack Perry, I didn't see coming in, but it kind of now a little bit made sense. But here's the $1 million question. Do you think Jack Perry's here to stay, or do you think this was just a one-off?
Well, from what I've heard, he's 100% done with
New Japan?
New Japan, so they're bringing him back home to get back to his day job.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? It will definitely be interesting to see the storyline that they put him in. I've been to say it even before the incident with CM Punk or whatever. I'm a huge Jack Perry fan. I've always have been. And,
yeah.
I've been watching AEW from the beginning. I'm not going to, mark out too much. But I really think that Jack Perry, well, I think he got a shin on the stick. It probably also did him very well to go to another company and grow and, learn a little bit more.
Yeah, because he needed to go somewhere else and sort this new heel character out before he brought it back to AEW.
I agree, and he also even came back with a whole new look. I mean, we saw the beard and everything over in New Japan, but when he left, he still had the baby face. So,
yeah.
Well, I won't say he was a heel, but he had just the babyface look. Forgive me for saying that. So there was several titles that also changed aside from the FTR title. Let me see. Willow Nightingale defeated Julia Hart to win her first women's TBS championship. Thunder Rosa defeated Toni Storm to become the AEW Women's Champion. Was that the second or third time?
Wait, Thunder has the belt?
Didn't she beat Toni Storm? Is my memory lapsing? Hurt? No, am I spoken too much weed? Okay, well I'll skip that one then. We do know that Swerve Strickland did defeat Samoa Joe, right? That did happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I could have sworn that Thunder Rosa won. Okay, but well, we know that we got those. And Swerve Strickland, I myself think he's going to be a long-time champion. I think he's going to this push. We could easily see him holding the title until at least after the year.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
no,
guys.
I just Googled who is the current AEW Women's Champion. Toni Storm.
Oh, shit. I forgot how that all played out then. I could have sworn she won the title. All right. Anyways, my bad, guys. Just, you get a little old, your brain stops working so well.
I wish it would have been La Mera, but...
Yeah. Anyways, moving along, Trevor Lee, also known as Cameron Grimes, took to social media and announced that he was released from WWE. Despite he was being upset about this being released, Grimes did thank everyone for helping him during his time in the company. Last week, WWE released Jinder Mahal, ZLE, Veer Mahan, Sangha, Zion Quinn, and WWE's artist Rob Schamberg. Now, Lance, when they first bought the company, they said there's not going to be any mass releases. Apparently, so far, There's still releases are still happening. What's going
Well, I
on?
mean, there's gonna be some spring cleaning every now and then because you gotta release some talent to bring new talent in. And see, something that just passed the Congress here that actually works in these people's favor. Now, granted, it's still going to be challenged legally, but effective in September, uh, non-compete clauses are banned.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out, especially with WWE wrestlers if they want to just leave and go right to AEW, and vice
yeah,
versa.
yeah.
Actually, I don't think AEW has a clause, no compete. I know Punk was was fired, but he was still out on injury before he could even
Yeah.
return. So, all right, moving along. Paige Van Zant is reported to be done with wrestling, despite still being on AEW's website. According to the Observer, Van Zant stated that she was no longer interested in wrestling, but if she ever decided to go back, the first place she would go to is AEW. Van Zant made her debut back in March of 2022. She had a few matches, and then December she suffered a foot injury, and she really hasn't been seen since then. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lance. Paige Van Zant, she's a hot chick. I'm sure she was a great MMA fighter, but she really didn't do anything in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, she had was part of that stable with the loudmouth. Uh, it was top team.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember that. It was just
Yeah,
that annoying MMA fighter, and it was just a pain in the ass. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think anybody really liked him. Even the fact that he was supposed to be heel. I understood, you're not supposed to like heels, but that just wasn't. It just didn't work.
It
So
it just didn't.
yeah, exactly. So it's a shame. And we're gonna go on one last piece of news here. Actually, nope. We have a couple. PWI Insider is reporting that TNA is considered bringing back Tessa Blanchard. Now, back in January of 2020, Blanchard won the Impact/TNA Championship. However, Blanchard was stripped of the title in June of 2020 and was fired after both sides failed to reach an agreement for Blanchard to appear at Slammiversary to defend her title. There was also that talk that she had some issues in the back, but apparently that was all been squashed. So, what's your thoughts about Tessa Blanchard going back to TNA? Possibly.
Well, I mean, she does have the lineage, but I gotta have a feeling they're gonna keep her on a short leash. Like she fucks up once, that I guess is closest thing I can call it. She's gonna be on the good boy clause. She
Yeah, to
screws
say
up
the
once,
least.
she's gone.
Yeah, she'll be walking on eggshells for a while. No question about that. And it looks like the Judgment Day is starting to fall apart. Already, Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio are both out on injury. Uh, and then earlier today, JD McDonough posted on Twitter that he's about his frustration with the faction. In short, he said that he has done more for Judgment Day than they ever did for him. So you gotta wonder, Lance. Could we see? I mean, there's also the draft that's coming up, and right now both champions are on Raw. So one champion's gonna have to go to SmackDown. So what's your take on all that mix?
Okay, I'm thinking the Dominic thing is bullshit. Cause okay, hear me out on this one. Half of his act just left with her shoulder getting hurt, and 1 week later, it just so happens he hurts his shoulder.
Yeah, I found that to be a little suspicious, but I wasn't sure it was out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, it's not, but coincidences happen, but that's a bit much.
Fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
mean, and I've seen the quote rules of the draft. The only champions that are eligible to get drafted is damage control.
Okay, but right now Cody and Judgment Day are both on Raw, right? Am I correct?
That I'm not sure. I think when Cody said to Jay this past Monday, till we eat each other again, I think that was his way of saying he's going to be on SmackDown for a little while. I could be wrong, but
All right, no worries. And just on another side note, Finn Balor also announced on Twitter that he has re-signed with the WWE for another multi-year contract, and I think that's really good for him. I mean, despite Balor not really having a great title run history, but I think so far since he's been with the Judgment Day, I think that's really been his second chance. He
oh
was,
hell yeah,
yeah. I mean, when he first came into the company and he was doing that, the Fiend, I'm sorry, the Demon. It was kind of like I don't know. It's either you're one or you're not. I think for him just to pull the makeup on the pay per view, I understand how extensive it was. I didn't think it was necessary. I mean, and then he went down to NXT because he wasn't doing that great, and then he
yeah.
eventually got and like I said, it was a Judgment Day that gave him that second chance up to the main roster. So, what's your thoughts about all that?
Well, we all know where he would have been going if he would have left, and honestly, he would have been in. It's not AEW. He would have went right back to New Japan and under his birth name, Fergal Devitt. But and honestly, once he leaves WWE after the end of this contract or the next one, he probably will go back to New Japan, and that's the next time we'll see the Demon.
Yeah, well, I know that when he was in New Japan, he did a whole bunch of different type of
Yeah,
characters. It wasn't just one.
it was Demon, something that looked like Venom from Spider-Man. I've seen Frankenstein.
I saw one that
There
he
have
did
been
the
a bunch of
Joker.
them.
So,
Yeah,
but then again, like I said, he had a lot more
yeah.
creative control when it came to like design. I'm guessing the Demon. I wasn't sure if that was WWE's design and saying, well, this is what you're going to wear and that's it, because Vince was still very much in control at the time.
I think the Demon was one of his New Japan. I just ain't sure.
All right. Well, I think we're going to cut this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants off. We didn't really have a lot of news, and unfortunately,
Yeah,
we had a skeleton crew tonight.
yeah.
So, but I want to thank for those of you who are listening. We're here every Wednesday night. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Just check us out in Wrestling Rants, and please be sure to check out our chat room. I'm sorry, Lance. And
I didn't
be
say
sure.
that.
Okay. Be sure to check out our chat room, Wrestling Rants, in the Facebook group section. So, for Lance and myself, I'm your hardcore host, Rickhead, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Brother shirt.